Hey, go pack, go. Okay, we are doing one more show before we take a break because there's not anything exciting to talk about for a while. So this is our last show before we hit the off season because the Packers aren't in the Super Bowl again. God damn it!
Don't they usually have the Goody press conference, end of the year press conference, where he just says a bunch of crap? And
I don't know.
has that happened?
I think they were so unsure about what was going to happen with LaFleur that they didn't do it because, like I told you, Matt LaFleur wore a non-logoed all black hoodie for his last press conference and his last Larry McCarron show that he did of the season. So he thought the end was coming. And
by the way, did you see that? A couple weeks ago,
right.
There was some crap on Facebook that Larry McCarron passed away.
What? No.
Yeah, it was on Facebook, and I had to look it up. I looked it up all over the internet, and I saw nothing else. And I was like, "Why do people do this crap?" Facebook is ridiculous. The other thing, real quick, I saw on Facebook the other day. It said that men should touch their significant other's boobs because it helps their health or something like that. And I told my wife that, and she said, "No, it's not true." I was like, "But it said it on Facebook. It's got to be true, right?" And she still wouldn't. She was like, "No." I'm like, "Well, but why not?" She's like,
"No."
Say
it's less likely to be true if you saw it there, but okay.
Anyways, I just thought of that. Both of those things I saw on Facebook recently, and apparently neither of them are true.
No, not true at all.
One according to the internet and honest truth, and one according to my wife.
Yep.
Who knew?
That's fair. Yeah. Okay, well, some different things to talk about. The Packers have the new defensive coordinator. We'll give you a little information on him. There are some people talking about it that apparently really dig into like what the cover 7 is and playing cover 4 and the rules and the whatevers and all the things. They got the inside scoops that we don't have. At the same time,
I'm already yawning.
I'm like, at the same time, I don't even really give a rip what defense you're playing. I just want you to be able to stop the other team, and I would actually like your guys to know what the hell they're doing. And the gist and the scary part of the gist is that from what I could decipher from Justice Mosqueda talking to Aaron Nagler, now Mosqueda's like all over the joint. Like he doesn't seem to finish a lot of things.
He rambles.
He's not a great communicator. We'll just say that. Not a great communicator. Like I think he understands stuff, but he's not. He's supposed to be a good writer, but he's not a good verbal communicator.
Well, you can't get a word in. When he starts talking, it goes on for like 20 minutes before the next guy can get a word in. I know that.
Okay.
And apparently Rob Demoski does not like he went off on him like last week, and it was like the biggest show that Wilde and Tausch ever had was Rob Demoski going off on Justin Mosqueda. Just heads up.
I like it.
But he didn't call him Mosqueda. He called him Moscato. He's like, I don't know what a just Moscato or whatever his name is. And he got all mad and said the F word on the live radio.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that another thing you read on Facebook? Is that something else
No, I watched it. I saw it. By the way, one more thing real quick about Wilde and Tausch. I haven't watched the Wilde and Tausch YouTube video in a while. And I certainly haven't watched one with Brian Balaga on there. But I just watched one today. Holy crap. Brian Balaga must have lost like 75 pounds. He looks like we could
lose. I know. Don't you wish you could lose weight like Brian Balaga? I wish.
What did he do? That just means he should have never been that big in the first place, and that explains why he sucked all those years. Because he never should have been that big.
That's
he couldn't carry all that weight and still play football.
Right. That's fair.
He looks good. I'll say that. He looks great. He looks great and healthy and great, and I'm happy for him. You know,
he should have been a wideout. You know.
Yeah, tight end.
Somewhere along the way, someone told them to beef up and be a tackle, but
he's better tight end than Luke Musgrave. I'll tell you that.
Well, okay.
I'll stop interrupting. Okay.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But what I'm getting at is there's a couple scary things from that basically Justice Mosqueda talked about knowing all these things, blah blah blah, and the overarching theme was that Jonathan Gannon plays a defense where there's guys who. So we went from a defense who wanted to penetrate and try to make plays in the backfield and TFLs and disrupt to being a run first, don't penetrate kind of defensive scheme. And then also apparently in the coverage, there's a lot of holes in the coverage that people can attack. So that's what I learned mostly from it. Which, wow, doesn't that sound like all the years before and the Dom Caper years and
That
the
smells bad.
years and the
That
and
don't sound like a good plan.
and you asked last time where was Jim Leonard? Jim Leonard was Broncos
yeah.
defensive backs coach, which their defensive backs are awesome and their whole defense is awesome. But we didn't want to wait for him. Apparently, he was it came out he was very interested in talking to the Packers. The Packers were interested in talking to him, and the very next day they hired Jonathan Gannon. Why? Were they worried somebody else was going to get him?
Because all those years ago, when Matt LaFleur wanted him to be the defense coordinator, and then he told him no. So now he's rubbing it. He's giving it right back to him. Except it's going to cost LaFleur his job. He should already be fired. But that's besides the point. We're not going to talk about that again.
Okay, before we jump on to a couple things with sound from that we'll let them try to enlighten you, and we'll maybe have to explain what he meant or what he said. Big news in the NFL: Bill Belichick snubbed from the Hall of Fame voting. We're not supposed to know any of this stuff, and it was leaked because obviously some people were so frustrated by it and just blown away by it that they leaked it out. And it's insane. How do you take a guy who's the most accomplished coach in the history of the fucking game, and he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer? Like, what?
How? I thought you had to be out for 5 years before you could be. He hasn't been.
I don't know if coaches need that same. It's players have to,
okay.
but I don't know if coaches have that same thing. Clearly, they don't because he's
only been out for like 2 years.
Yeah,
or 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, basically
2 years.
Yeah,
because they had what's his face, Gerard Mayo,
Mayo, and then Vrabel,
and then now Vrabel now. So it's only been 2 years. So I didn't know there was only 2 years for coach. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous that Mike Holmgren's not in the Hall of Fame, and Bill Cowher is. That's besides the point. But when a guy has 6 Super Bowl wins as a head coach, plus other Super Bowl wins as a defense coordinator before that, and nobody has more than, 4 as a head coach other than that, right? The Steelers guy? Doesn't he have
Chuck Noll,
Super Bowl wins?
Yep.
Yeah. What the fart? That's first ballot Hall of Famer all the way. I bet you Chuck Noll was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
As soon as he could get it, yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about?
I don't care. There's no good reasoning for not. Like, that should have been 100% of people who vote for him to be in, right? There's no.
That's just somebody being an ass, or a bunch of people being asses is all it is. Because, and you could say, oh well, he's a jerk, and he treated the media. See, that's the whole thing. This is what it is. It's the media getting back at him for 20 years of him saying nothing at the press conferences. That's probably what it is. The media's like, oh yeah, you told us nothing? Well, we're going to give you nothing. Ha ha ha. That's what it is. I just solved the case. Because how many times he'd be like, on to Cincinnati. I don't know, on to nothing. You know what I mean? That's all he did with his web sweatshirt. And he would just say nothing. And now the reporters were always pissed. And now they're like, oh, okay, Bill. So all those years you gave us nothing, we're going to not let you get in. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Oh, Jesus. Hey, Rick, good to see you. Or see you on here. Apparently he's also a world-class grudge holder. So it'll be interesting when he does get in, like, what happens. Does he go? Does he, like, I don't know. Who knows?
Well,
it'll be interesting to watch.
I know this. Him and Tom Brady had issues before they left. Mm-hmm. But I watched the roast of Tom Brady, and he came back for that. And I don't think they're buddies again or anything, but they were cordial, and he was funny, and they were both funny, and they were cool with each other. And, I don't know. He's an old guy, and he's got like a 22-year-old girlfriend or whatever. So what are you gonna? He's 70-some years old, and he got a 22-year-old girlfriend. I'm sure he's like, I don't give a crap. You guys don't want to let me in? Screw you guys. I got a 22-year-old girlfriend who tells me what to do all the time, and I listen to her. And that's why I get fired or whatever. Did he lose his coaching job or leave his coaching job at college now?
Yeah.
don't know if he lost it or he just left, but whatever.
After 1 year, it was kind of over with.
But anyways,
yeah.
Bottom line is he's older than dirt.
That's another thing to factor in. Like there's plenty of people who they waited too long and then the guys weren't even around. Like obviously anything can happen at any point in your life, but the older you get, the higher the chances are that you might not live till the next year or the next time around. And what a bunch of bullshit if this opportunity is there, they don't vote him in, he's not in. They're like, he'll get it another time, and then he's not around the next time. Like that'd be some bull. Come on, man. It's the same thing when they jobbed over Leroy Butler so many times. By the time he got in, his mom was dead, and his mom was like the most important person in the world to him, and she couldn't see him be in the Hall of Fame. She didn't get to see him go in. Come on. It's just ridiculous. All right.
It is sad and dumb.
Let's talk about, did you get to check out any, I know you said you're watching Jeff Hafley stuff. What are your thoughts on what you've seen from Jeff Hafley so far as the Dolphins head coach?
Jeff Hafley, man, his opening press conference where he's crying, and John Eric Sullivan, who hates to be called John Eric Sullivan, even though Goody always calls him John Eric Sullivan, though I thought they were good buddies, which is funny. That's very odd because he says everybody calls me Sully, but Goody always introduced him as John Eric Sullivan. So
Goody's such an ass.
That's kind of like remember when we were in Innocent Men and we got Mo took my spot, right? And we had him come up and sing one song. We're like Mo, and then one guy was like, "Oh, Eric Gardner, Eric, good job, way to go, Eric Gardner." No, it's Mo. And people need to know it's Mo. That's what he wants to be called, even if he doesn't really want to be called that. And Sully actually wanted to be called Sully.
Yeah.
And he had to tell the reporters, you can call me Sully. Everybody calls me Sully because, I'm not a fan actually of John Eric Sullivan. I'm not going to tell you that. But my parents thought John was boring. And so they made a John Eric with a hyphen. And everybody's giving me shit for that for my whole life. And I just want to be called Sully because I'm just a Sully kind of guy. But anyways, yeah, he was crying. Hafley was crying because they were just passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hafley just talks off the cuff. He's got no freaking clue or no notes in front of him. The guy is just, he always is going to win the press conference no matter what because he's the man. Can he win football games? I know this much. I heard that they hired the offensive coordinator, was Bobby Slowick, who was the guy with Houston who didn't know how to get his offensive line to pick up the blitz and made Houston last season look like dog shit, their offensive line. Now, their offensive line was bad this year too, but it was really bad last year. So that's not great for Jeff Hafley in his head coaching position if he hires a guy who couldn't figure out how to protect C.J. Stroud 2 years ago and they didn't even know. And I'm talking Chris Sims was showing stuff. And the O-line committee was showing stuff. They're like, I don't know what these guys are doing. They have no way. They have no idea how to pick up blitz. They're not even communicating anything about how to pick up the blitz. And that's a thing that should be coached. And if it's the offensive coordinator can't do it, at least your offensive line coach should be able to do it. And nobody could do it with Houston. So that's a little scary for Jeff Hafley, I would think. But we'll see.
Well, did you hear? Okay, so a couple of things about Hafley kind of reflecting on some stuff. One of them was I heard about that, right? And then I watched a few more interviews. I watched a number of interviews with him. He's been on this Miami radio show with this older guy who's been doing sports talk radio forever. He was on talking. They talked about how refreshing it was to go through that interview with him from what it was like with Mike McDaniel before. They talked about, he was on with Peter Schrager recently. He's making the circuits. He's been made himself available for everything. Rich Eisen, all this good stuff. He's just a good dude. The reason he comes across like a good dude and natural is because he's not bullshitting anybody and he's literally just speaking from the heart and not afraid to say what's on his mind and be the person he is. And so he talked about that guy Sloak because a lot of people had questioned that one, right? He said he first met him back when they were together, assistants under Shanahan or something. And so, or maybe even in Cleveland, and that one Cleveland staff that all these coaches that were all these positions that are now either have been head coaches or are currently head coaches and all. He said that he met him there. They really had a good relationship, and he wanted to work with him because of the person he is. So I don't know about his talent, his ability to pick up the blitz or figure out his offensive line. Maybe they'll get a good O-line coach. I don't know. But everything he's talked about in all of his media pieces has been about the right people, about finding the right people to fit with what they want to do. And he's emphasized when they're asked about what's important to him, work ethic, working hard, playing physical, playing fast, being for each other, like team oriented. And those are the things they want to build around there. So I think you win with that stuff. Now I don't know if you might get out coached, you might have some you might not be as smart as the guy across from you or whatever, but I think that's building a group that way, and a team that plays for each other and plays hard and does all the things and plays physical brand of football. I think that gets you pretty far. So I think he'll do well. And now will he get ultimately where he wants to go? I don't know, but I do like what he's doing, and I think he will inspire people. And I think I like what I've heard from him, and I wish he was our coach. I really do. Oh, yeah. And even more now that I hear about Jonathan Gannon's defensive approaches, I really wish he was our coach.
Okay, well, let's get to that because that's what this is the P.O.O show. It ain't the do show.
Well, I love Jeff Hafley. I'm a
Dolphin
I hope he does.
right opinions.
I hope he does.
Packer
awesome.
right opinions.
All right, I got a few little clips here. We'll try to decipher, and I'll try to pull them. I know two of them for sure, and then I'm going to try to get the other one in there for you too, because I hope.
Well, you got to shout out Cheesehead TV and Justin
Cheesehead TV,
and Nagler.
All those guys,
those are the guys. Watch them. We don't know anything. Yeah. They know it all. Go and look at them. I don't know why.
Well, you can tell that Nagler. You can tell like Nagler doesn't know jack shit, but like this guy, he knows some stuff. Because we couldn't get these guys in our show, so we gotta borrow it. But listen to this crap here.
One of the 3 years they tried this under Barry, and then they got out of it, and they had a ton of coverage busts that first year. Gannon hasn't had the coverage bust, so I'm less inclined to think that that's going to happen.
Okay, so that's one little snippet. 1 year under Joe Barry, the Packers tried playing this defense, and they had a bunch of coverage busts, but he doesn't think Gannon will have the coverage busts. Well, I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't think that if the Packers have proven that they're going to have a F-load of coverage busts, because that's what they do it already now. They did it under Hafley. How many coverage busts have we seen?
Right.
They don't understand
I think that's important. The important thing, it's not right. It's not the coaches. The coaches design the coverage, and the players are the ones. The bust happens because the players don't understand what their assignment is based on what the offense is doing to them. And so when you play a team that's good or a team that understands how to, get the defense in a bad situation, then it just takes advantage of it. And our guys aren't taught, or they don't know how to adjust to that, or maybe that's also coaching. Because if Gannon knows how to coach his guys to be like, hey, no matter what happens, this is your job. Do your job. That'd be great. But you know how sometimes guys get a little crazy and try to make a shot. I mean, even in the Bear game, the first Bear game, Evan Williams jumped the fourth down play, and we needed Keyshawn to break off his route to get back there and cover the tight end, right?
Yeah.
So those are two. That's a guy who, Evans didn't do his job, and Keyshawn saved him. There's other times where Keyshawn doesn't do his job, and then nobody saves him, and then he looks like shit.
Yep.
What would have happened if Keyshawn didn't break off, and we would have lost that game to the Bears, too?
Right.
People would be having Evan Williams' freaking face. They'd be chopping his head off. Who was supposed to be covered at tight end? How could they let him go like that? Now, would it have come out that it was supposed to be Evan Williams' guy on that play? Probably not. Usually they keep that pretty tight to the chest and they don't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But coverage breaks happen because guys see things and sometimes go. Or sometimes they happen because guys see things and then don't know what the hell they're supposed to do. So
here's the other thing.
I don't know. I don't think it's coaching. Is what I'm saying is I don't think it's coaching that does the coverage bust. It's the players that do the coverage bust.
Well, part of it also is you're like Jeff Hafley said many times he just wanted the guys to play fast, right? Not think so much, play fast. So he wanted to keep it simpler for them. this defense, cover 4, primarily, Gannon runs a lot of cover 4. The cover 4 is pretty straightforward if you play it like a cover 4, an actual cover 4. But what he likes to do is mix it up and play like a cover 7 or whatever the hell, and then sometimes it's like a man, 2-man on one side, and then like cover 4 on the backside or whatever the hell it is. It's this mismatch of stuff, okay? And then what Mosqueda was explaining too was that so like if you have trips to one side of the field, there are, there's like you if you're playing it straight cover 4, you're just playing the zone. You're covering. He said this numerous times in Gannon's defense. You play grass, not players. So you cover.
Then we're screwed.
That's what he said multiple times. You cover grass, not people.
Then we're screwed. Because our guys don't know how to cover grass. Whenever
you cover grass and then you rally and tackle. That's what he said.
Well, then you're never stopping them because you're always giving up the catch.
I know.
So you're going to have guys with, our cornerbacks, like Keyshawn, is going to have 1,000 tackles. Well, it don't matter because it's going to give up first downs every time.
Mm-hmm.
That's dumb.
It is dumb, but it's what. So, and then the other part is when you go to play this cover 7 stuff and mix that in, it becomes like the principles, kind of what Leroy has talked a few times about, like how there's this guy's number 1, this guy's number 2, this guy's number 3, and if you're covering this or whatever, then you're like, okay, I got 1, I got 2, I got 3, but then if 1 crosses inside and 2 goes outside, then those 2 guys, rather than going with those players, have to know to switch that as the receivers are running the route. This is how this defense has to work. So this is what they're going to try to implement with the Green Bay Packers.
It ain't going to work.
No, I know it's not. This is what I'm telling you. So if a guy crosses, so if I'm playing outside and I'm supposed to be covering number 1 on the outside, and number 2 is supposed to be covered by, let's say, Evan Williams or somebody in the inside zone. 2 runs to the outside, 1 goes to the inside, then we have to switch. Both of us have to know, oh yeah, if they come this way, I have to switch. But then also what you're supposed to do, like if you're still playing zone for like the linebackers, so if that guy comes into a linebacker zone, then he covers him for a while and then he has to pass him off to the next guy. So there's all this like passing off, switching on the fly, all this sort of stuff that has to work when they do it that way. Or the alternative is they're playing more straight cover 4, which is literally just covering grass, not people, and then rallying and tackling when they complete the pass in front of you. That's what the basis of his defenses have been.
Well, sounds like you're going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, it sounds just like the slow death that we've had for however many, most of our Packer lives on defense, where they just can't stop anybody and can't get off the field, and then they just keep possession of the ball, and you're gonna have like 5 possessions a game then, or 7 possessions a game. That's it, because you can't stop them and get off the field unless they screw it up. So the bad teams will screw it up, and then you'll do okay against them, and you'll beat them. But when you play the good teams who are disciplined and just say, oh, well, they're giving us the pass over the middle, or they're giving us the flat, or they're giving us this.
So you're saying we're going to be 9-8 next year?
Yep.
And just miss the playoffs, or get the 7th seed and get knocked out of the first round again?
Yep.
Oh.
And I'm also saying we're not going to stop anybody, because here's the next bit. This was this. I'm only using this. I know you don't want me to use their video, but Cheesehead TV got this great Justice Mosqueda interview, and I can't say it for him. I'm going to let him say it because I don't want to say it. I don't even want to say it out loud. So you got to just listen to him say it, because I think it's horrible to hear.
Hey, those guys at the line of scrimmage, they're playing run first, right? Which is not what fans want to hear. Micah Parsons. Yeah. I understand that.
Right.
But on, if you're in your base set, like that is kind of what life is going to be like. So yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of, we're holding at the point of attack, and that is allowing our linebackers not to bite on run immediately and to actually be able to like cover their butts in the play action game. It's going to allow our safeties to play pass first and then fit into the run once they realized, like, oh, okay, the ball was actually handed off, right?
Right.
So let me ask you a question, Ben. Who is one of our most important?
Evan Williams.
Yes.
You don't even have to ask a question because based on what he just said, you're taking Evan Williams out of the game. Because what Evan Williams did was be smart. He knew when it was a run. He knew when it was a pass because he studied film. He understood what the defense or what the offense was doing to him, and he just ran and attacked and hit. And he was in every play. Andy Herman said that when he was doing his grades. He said the most fun player to watch on Packers defense is Evan Williams because he's always around the ball. Based on what Justice Mosqueda just said, in Jonathan Gannon's defense, Evan Williams is going to sit back and do nothing. And then, once the ball gets handed off, then he can finally first run forward. Well, we already got that. That's Xavier McKinney. We don't need two guys doing that. Let's just have one guy do that who sucks, McKinney, and have Evan Williams do Evan Williams stuff. What are we talking about here? I don't like it. You know what? It's the epitome of Matt LaFleur, though.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like the Matt LaFleur defense. Like if Matt LaFleur was a defense coordinator, this is the defense he'd run. The do nothing. Do nothing. And then once they attack you, then react to it. Genius. Because all defenses that are good are passive. Right? They all sit back and wait for the offense to do their thing and let them do their thing. And then we react to it. That never goes wrong. That sounds like the dumbest fucking defense of all time. What you should be doing is getting in people's faces, jam the receivers so it disrupts the offensive rhythm on the outside. On the inside, you should be penetrating and causing havoc and getting in the backfield as fast as possible to cause a problem. Okay, sure, maybe once, twice, maybe even 3 times a game you'll give up a big play. But the rest of the game, you're going to stop them in their backfield. You're going to put them in unfavorable down and distance for the offense. All you're doing here is giving them an easy freaking couple yards. Right off the bat. And then if you miss the tackle, boom, it's a first down.
Mm-hmm.
It's dumb. It's dumb, passive, losing defense. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Great. So glad. Great hire.
I mean, put this together with, like, how Matt LaFleur is supposed to understand the players he has on his team, right? And what they're good at, or at least sort of know that. You just hired a guy whose defensive philosophy is to take your best players to be non-factors. Micah Parsons, you want Micah Parsons to just stand there and hold the point of attack? Is that what? Are you kidding me?
It. They're taking Rashawn Gary and making him a perfect play. We should have had Kenny Clark.
If there's word he might get cut by the Cowboys and they might get him back. There's word about that now.
Yeah, his contract is humongous for this next year. There's no guaranteed money on it because the Packers are paid the guaranteed money, so they don't have to keep. That's the thing that's so great about trades. Like when you trade for a guy, the contract is still there, but the guarantees are paid by the team that traded him away because that's already done. So on your salary cap, you can save whatever. If he's supposed to make $23 million next year, the Cowboys can save $23 million by cutting him. And the Packers are still paying him on our salary cap because he was traded after June 1st, which means some of it was on last year's salary cap, and some of Kenny Clark is on this year's salary cap. I think it's how it works. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's how it works. So yay for us. But what I would say is this. If you sit back and I don't know. It seems like he was the defense coordinator for the Eagles when they were really awesome. Now, they had a lot of awesome defensive players.
Yeah.
So that could be a part of that, obviously.
Yep.
But what you're doing, based on what that says, you're taking away, you have a difference maker in Parsons, you have a difference maker in Cooper, you have a difference maker in Evan Williams. And you're taking those 3 levels of difference makers and taking them away from what they do best, which is cause havoc. And that's not probably going to work because there's multiple plays where we watch guys just sit back and do nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's not their fault. What happens if you go back and cover the grass and nobody comes to your grass.
You're
just a guy standing there doing nothing. Because guess what? Ben Johnson is going to be like, oh, really? That's what you're going to have this guy stand there and cover him? Sweet. I'll flood the other side of the field. You'll have 3-4 guys standing on the other side of the field doing absolutely nothing. And I'm going to have 4 receivers with only 2 guys to cover him over on this side. You dummies. And that's what Ben Johnson will do to us. And the Bears will kick our ass every year. Dumb.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand how we finally, and I know the Packers talked about how they emphasize turnovers. They're supposed to be able to attack and get penetration, get TFLs, and get turnovers under Jeff Hafley, and the turnovers didn't come this year. I get it. But you also modified a lot of your roster, and then you traded for the superstar. That's what you need for him to be an impact player. He has to you got to unleash him. You have to unleash him. For Cooper to be impactful, you got to unleash him. Like, you're going to cage these. You want Cooper to play pass first? You want Cooper to play pass? No. What are you talking about? If he plays pass first and it's a run and they do duo and then they scrape off, that just lets the offensive lineman get to him easier. But if he gets to trigger right away, they can't catch him. It's the same thing with Evan Williams. And Micah Parsons, you did not freaking get him to just stand there and hold up a block. You got him to penetrate and cause havoc and make shit messy for the other team.
We'll wait and see what happens. This sounds ridiculous. This sounds like the dumbest defense of all time. If this is true, we saw this defense for Joe Barry years. We saw this defense for a bunch of Dom Capers years. We saw all this. We saw sit on your ass and let them get whatever they want and just That's not true.
The only way it works. Okay, let's go back. Let's say if you're playing this style, right? Eyes on the quarterback, covering grass, not people, and you watch what's happening in front of you and you attack once you see it happening. Okay. Who does that work with? What personnel does that work with? Works with guys that are aggressive, fast, and aware. How many aggressive, fast, and aware guys do we have?
None.
I mean, I kind of say like Evan Williams. I mean, he's not fast for a safety, but he's fast for a human, for a player.
Yeah, but he's not fast.
I have a lot of concerns. And sorry. One other big thing that came out in this is a really important thing for Gannon's defense to work. Well, is to have a big guy, have a real big guy that can eat up a double team on your defensive front.
Yeah,
and hold the point of attack.
Yeah, we don't have that guy.
No, and Goody don't like to draft those guys either. So some people think the Packers will be in the market for a big defensive tackle in free agency, but they don't have any money to spend.
Yeah, we have no money, and we had a guy last year, and they let him go. We should talk about real side note. Okay. When skinny Brian Balaga was on the Wildy and Tao show, he talked about how after the Eagles game, when we got our butts handed to us in the playoff game a couple years ago, or a year and a half, a year ago, then Goody signed Aaron Banks and drafted Belton, and then we got Sean Ryan at center, so we beefed up the offensive line.
Yep.
But Matt LaFleur still called his flow to the side and try to get in front and get out and move and block, even though we had big, slow guys who are just big and tough. And Balaga's like, that was dumb. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Balaga shed a bunch of weight and gained a bunch of brains. When did this happen? But he was right. Goody tried to give LaFleur big, tough guys, and LaFleur was like, no. I want to play Jordan Morgan at guard because, he's 180 pounds, and I want to see him get his ass kicked and on passing downs by the big guys, and also can't do anything in the run game. Instead of just putting the big guys out there and doing duo like you talked about, or just getting a hat on a hat and freaking moving the line of scrimmage a little bit to give Josh Jacobs, who's not great in the open field, really, give him a little crease so he can junk through and then smack over some dudes and get 6 yards of carry by just giving him 2 yards for free. But LaFleur didn't call those plays. LaFleur kept trying to think that was Aaron Jones back there. And he thought it was, Billy Turnstile and, young Elton Jenkins and Lukey Patrick and guys like that out there trying to block for him. And we don't have that anymore. We had Belton and we had Sean Ryan and we had frickin' Banks. All these big guys who can't really move that well. Yet they're all better than Josh Myers. But that's besides the point. So what? So the problem, and then Tausch is like, well, why did we do that then? Why did Goody bring in all these big guys and Matt LaFleur not call plays for big guys? And Balaga's like, I don't know. And Wildy's like, that seems really dumb. And Tausch is like, yeah, that's pretty dumb. And they're like, Balaga, you might have come up with something here. Who would have thought? And then Wildy's like, Balaga, you got to get a hold of Matt LaFleur and ask him why he didn't call any big guy plays. And Balaga's like, yeah, he ain't going to answer me. But still, anyways, that was the whole thought. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
How much of this is Goody just doing, like that big guy? And then LaFleur is like, yeah, I don't like how I run the big guys. Even though we play in an outdoor stadium in the cold, where if you're a big, tough guy and you get on somebody and push him a little bit, it's going to hurt that little tiny guy or the smaller guy on the defensive line because you get on him. It's a hell of a lot easier to move when you're a big guy and you know when the snap count is in the cold and the snow and the ice and if you're trying to move a big fat offensive lineman, he has to run 3-4 yards before he first blocks the guy, and he's supposed to try to run on the cold snow and Lambeau Field or the tundra. Kind of dumb, Matt LaFleur. This is one time where I agree with Goody. If you get the big tough guys, let's lean on them and run the ball like big tough guys. But LaFleur didn't call those plays. He has to call his run-pass option. So either you run for no yards or you pass to the wide receiver who gets no blocks for no yards. That's the great Matt LaFleur offense. And the quarterback gets to decide which, let's see, do I want to have a run for no yards or do I want to have a pass for no yards? And sometimes he decides to run it for no yards, and sometimes he decides to pass it for no yards. But either way, it always goes for no yards, except for one time when Matthew Golden decided to make 17 guys miss tackles and jump over a guy and spin around and then dive and then look like Donald Driver out there and score a touchdown. Other than that one time, that play never worked all year.
Yeah,
that's Matt LaFleur. That's not even Goody.
That's a good point.
Goody does suck. But that's Matt LaFleur's fault. And Balaga's like, why did Goody give him all these guys, then he didn't use them? Like, if he didn't want them, why didn't he tell Goody, I don't want those kind of guys. I want the guys like we used to have. I want the Lukey Patricks. I want the Elton Jenkins type. Not the Anthony Belton and the Banks type. And they're all flabbergasted. They were like, I don't know. Who's the problem?
Right?
Are they communicating to each other? Do Goody and LaFleur talk to each other? Or what kind of players they want on the team? Apparently not.
and then they get extensions. So here's something that popped into my mind as you were talking about that. And I don't know why I didn't think of it before. But I think in the NFL this last season, I would say, based on my recollection of stuff, I saw more offensive holding not called than a bunch of years that I've watched NFL football.
A lot of that.
Okay. Now, let's just put yourself into this. Another reason why this approach for offensive run blocking is even more stupid. Because do you know how hard it is to hold a guy when you're just sliding and running and not even get to the guy for a while? As opposed to if you make contact right away, you can get your hands on them, they can't really see it, and then you can hold them right away. That's great. But when you don't get to put your hands on a guy right away and make contact right away, you can't hold him. Like everybody else in the league holds them.
Are you talking about actually blocking the guy for more than one split second?
I am. I'm talking about getting on him and then holding him like everybody else does because they're not going to call it. So just hold them like everybody else.
That's what the Eagles do.
Yeah.
But that's not what the
coaching
staff at the Packers coach.
Yeah, we don't even give our guys a chance to do it. They can't even get a holding penalty on a running play because they can't even get to the guy to hold him.
No. I bet you I don't think the Packers have ever had a holding penalty on a running play.
Freaking dumb. What the
Except
hell?
they have it sometimes when a guy like just schools them and gets in the backfield. Sometimes there's holding calls in the running game that way.
Yeah.
Because the guy got turned around and the D tackle beat the shit out of him, and then he just like tried to grab him after he's already passed him. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when you get on the guy and you hold him.
Yep. And they try to get away from you, but you're like, no,
You can't.
I got you.
Nah. Yeah.
And the Packers can't do it because they don't let them.
No, they don't call the play.
Oh my God.
How high can we make our voices go? They don't call
Probably
the play.
pretty high, but I don't know.
Why don't they call it? I don't know. It's pretty dumb.
Like what is happening? None of it makes any sense. How is these guys get their jobs back? How is this guy the defensive coordinator? I have so many concerns about
I'm starting to, you know how like, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've worked retail my whole life. It's been terrible. And I've watched many a dumb person move up in the company I'm in because I don't want any part of that, because I don't want to give up my life and deal with stupid. And most of the people that move up are just the people that just stay there long enough to move up. You know what I'm saying? Or they move to another place to move up because they're dumb, or I can't explain it, but it's just full of people that aren't necessarily the smartest people in the world, or don't always know what's going on, or what. I don't even know if they know what they're doing, or what their jobs are. Or I can't tell you, right? And I'm starting to think football is the same way. It's just guys who knew a guy who got there and then hung around long enough that eventually he's okay. Like Mike McDaniel or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Is just some random guy who was a ball boy for Mike Shanahan in Denver when he was like 20 years old. And then 20 years later, he's the head coach, or 25 years later, he's the head coach of the Dolphins because he was once the ball boy of Mike Shanahan. Never played football. Never really, I mean, he studied football a little bit, right? And he learned a bunch of stuff from Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
But when he talked, like you said, the difference between him and Hafley is like night and day. Hafley sounds like a guy who knows what the hell he's talking about. Mike McDaniel is just kind of like, and just says weird crap, and he's just weird. Like Hafley's an outlier here. He seems like a guy who like knows what's up, and like Kyle Shanahan. Yes, he's a nepotism or whatever it is because he's the son of a guy who whatever. But still, it seemed like he paid his dues and actually studied and knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to think that a lot of these guys are just guys that were in it for the long haul, and they didn't get out to do something else when they were in like the thick of the bad hard times. You know what I'm saying? Because you either really love it, like Jeff Hafley said at his press conference, that he stepped underneath the desk at his first job he had because he had no place else to stay, so he just slept underneath his desk in his office.
$2,500 salary for the year for that job.
Yeah.
$2,500 for the year.
So, and that just shows he either really loved it and then stayed with it, or and he ended up producing, right? But there's probably a lot of guys who did that, right? Who stayed with it and then just kept going. But why? But because maybe they sucked at everything else. But other people who had options got out. Like some smart people got out and did other things, and they weren't in the coaching tree that long. And we're just stuck with all these guys who are head coaches, and they're all idiots. And these coordinators are all idiots. Like they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Like it would make common sense to not be passive. What's the one thing an offense would want the defense to do? Right? Just let us get off the ball so that our play works. Like we drew it up to go like this and like this, and then this guy goes like this, and then this guy goes like this, and then another guy comes from behind, and then he's wide open because that went like that, and this guy took that guy way there, and then this guy comes across here, and then he's open there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if everything runs the way it's supposed to, and they don't get stopped, that's exactly what the offense wants. They drew it up that way. It was executed perfectly because everything happened the way it was supposed to because the defense just sat there and watched and then reacted. That's dumb. What the offense doesn't want you to do is to shove a guy because you have 5 yards to shove a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Keyshawn went in the backfield and hit the guy before the ball got there because he was 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage when the ball was in the air?
It was awesome.
You can do that. Why don't you do that on every play?
Right.
Go back there and beat the shit out of the guy and screw up the play because it changes the whole freaking rhythm. It gets the team off their rhythm. They don't have the play is now screwed up. It's not drawn up just like they did. And guess what? They don't practice anymore. They just run through the plays without even any shoulder pads or anything on, right? They just walk through the plays. Let's walk through the plays where everything works perfect. Well, if you screw it up, if you're the defense and you cause it to not work perfect, the offense is like, oh, shit, it ain't perfect. What do we do? And it screws them up.
Yeah, unless they got like Houdini, Caleb Williams, they're in pretty good trouble there.
Right. That guy's crazy. But still, that's all I'm saying. It just seems like just a common sense human being would be like, the last thing I want to do is let the offense do what they want to do and then just react to it. No, I want to mess their shit up. And when that happens, the play gets screwed up, and then somebody's in the wrong place, and the quarterback's like, oh, crap, that guy's not where he's supposed to be. I got to find the other guy. And then when he does that, then Micah Parsons sacks him. Oh, is that smart? Yes. Why don't we do that? I don't know. It seems like these guys are just dumb, and they're all afraid. That's the other problem. And now, guess what? We have a head coach who is more afraid than ever. So he's going to, and that's, how do you think we have a big lead and then lose it every time? Because our coach doesn't take chances. Our coach is too afraid to screw it up. And that's what happens. And then I don't know. I don't have any faith in Gannon. I don't have any faith in LaFleur. I don't have any faith in Goody. I don't have any faith in policy after what he just pulled with signing these idiots back again. I don't even know why I'm a Packer fan, I guess, because I grew up in the Green Bay area, and it's just what you have to do, right? If you're not a Packer fan, you got to get the hell out of town. Well, I'm out of town, so maybe I should stop. Maybe I'm a Dolphins fan now. Maybe I'm a Bears fan now. All right, I'll never do that. But what I'm saying, I'm a Ben Johnson fan, though. I'll tell you that. But anyways, that's the biggest thing. Why? Why would you let them do what they want to do?
I don't know. And the other part that we've talked about for a long time is, and Mike Daniels talked about it, right? Taking the edge off of guys or whatever it is. If you're playing that style of defense, you're already doing that. You think defensive players want to play that way?
No.
That's what? They want to be aggressive. They want to go attack people. And I'll tell you another thing they don't want to do is have to think too goddamn much about what. Wait, if this happens, I do this. If this happens, I do this. And then we switch off to you, and you get this guy now. And are you kidding me? All these guys will be doing is thinking. They'll be standing there waiting and then thinking. So they're already a step behind, and you're just going to get chewed up. Like I know. Here's the thing with Gannon. I know they said he didn't have a lot to work with in Arizona, and his defenses did reasonably well for the talent he had to work with. And that's fine. Maybe what he was able to do was take guys that weren't that good and kind of cover up and figure it out, and they did okay. But this Packers defense has so much invested in it. It's supposed to be amped up for the right coach to unleash it, to dominate. And you're talking about you just hired a coach who doesn't think about dominating or completely imposing his will on the other team. He wants his defense to sit back, react, and then make the tackle. Because that's what Matt LaFleur likes.
My only hope is that Gannon will be like, no, we're going to do it different. We're going to attack. We're going to do it the way we want to do it.
Because Matt LaFleur, remember what does Matt LaFleur talk about more than anything? We got to eliminate the explosives.
I know. And that, I hate to say this, Jace, but that Jeff Hafley said the same thing at his press conference.
Well, I know that.
He also said on offense, we need the explosives. And I'm like, if everybody's trying to eliminate the explosives don't happen. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why the Packers offense doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Love is throwing freaking 40-yard bombs on 3rd and 2 instead of just taking the goddamn check down or running for fucking 2 yards to get a first down or throwing the ball away like an even bigger dumbass instead of just running for 2 yards to get the first down. And that's why they're dumb.
Bears could have been in the NFC Championship if they just took the check downs, right? Like Tom Brady made a freaking living in taking the check down.
Yeah.
Because that's what the defense gave him. So take it. Take that 5 yards. Take that 7 yards.
Take it and keep taking it until the defense realizes, oh, crap, we can't do it anymore, and then you hit them.
Yeah.
Then you hit him with the Robert Tonyan deep ball. Remember when Aaron Rodgers used to hit the Robert Tonyan deep ball because nobody was expecting that?
But you got to be patient.
Right.
And all these
Can't do
guys,
it all at once.
the coaches aren't patient. The players aren't patient. Like there's no discipline. That's why they can't do it. It's not that you need the explosives. It's like they're too, I don't know. They think there's so much importance. The explosive leads to points. And it's like, you know what else leads to points? Just effectively, consistently running your offense leads to points. But you don't want to do that. Or you're not disciplined enough to do that, or your players aren't disciplined enough to do it, or you don't get enough practice time to make your players good enough at doing it. I don't know. It could be all of the above. But either way, very few teams do it.
We know from watching the All-22 that Matt LaFleur doesn't exactly utilize plays that get guys open, which is funny because he did do it when they played the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs a few years back when Romeo Doubs had his huge game. That game was all everybody moving the guys so that Romeo was open on like every damn play. Like he was wide ass open. And now LaFleur doesn't, like we watched the plays. It's like, oh, this guy runs straight and that guy does it out and that guy does a curl, but they're not anywhere near each other and they don't run together. And then you watch the Bears and you see three guys attack one side of the field with three different levels, and the Packers defense doesn't know how to handle covering all those guys because they can't unless they split like the atom and they got turned into two guys or like whatever. Or multiple man from X-Men or whoever it is. You can't do it. So it's Matt LaFleur's fault too. His offense is garbage.
You know something else that's very lacking from his offense, or actually it's not a good benefit for the most part. And so I don't blame Jordan Love for not checking it down at times. But there are different ways to run like checkdowns, right? Mm-hmm. There's one really effective way is having like a guy like come up the middle and then be a late leaker to the outside. Packers very rarely do that. They usually chip on the outside and then they just go and hang out there.
Sit in the flat 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which is stupid.
Yeah, so the guys can see them. So and then they're way far away from the quarterback. They're closer to the sideline. So then by the time the ball gets over there, the defensive guy, the linebacker, whoever is already up to make the tackle almost immediately. But you know what works good, rather than having the guy sit there, is you have him kind of hang out in the middle, make sure the protection up the gut isn't breaking down, and then maybe he sneaks out and then runs to the right or left. So he's actually on the move. He's not just standing there waiting. And they probably lost him a little bit in the middle because they're looking at all the other stuff. So oftentimes those are much more effective checkdowns than the guy who just sits out here and waits for them to throw the ball and just stands there, and then he's got to restart everything. But I don't see it. I hardly ever see Matt LaFleur have like valuable like checkdowns that'll get you something more than like 2 yards, unless the player breaks like 3 tackles.
The other thing is
that's a problem.
Like I understand the concept. The concept is we're going to have guys where the quarterback will know they're going to be there and they're going to be open because nobody's going to cover anybody 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Except for Keyshawn, who covered a guy 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's besides the point. So he knows that the quarterback will know, oh, I have this outlet pass. If I get pressure, I can dump it to him. And maybe, possibly, if the world and everything lines up perfect, that guy might break a tackle and get me a +1 yard. Awesome. The other thing that you could do, though, would be, I don't know, just don't either keep him in there to protect the whole time, and then he leaks in the middle, and you have to find the guy. Mm-hmm. Or just send him out in a damn route. Send him out in a route and have him go and flood one side of the field. And bring the linebacker over there and have your wide receiver line outside, do an in route. And then if the linebacker doesn't come, then you got a running back on a corner who you could beat with strength. And you got a wide receiver on a linebacker with speed against bigness. You got a mismatch there too. And if the linebacker does go with the running back, and the wide receiver's on the in cut, that linebacker vacates the middle, and guess what? The wide receiver's going to be open. But when you just have the running back sit there and block for a while, and then go sit out in the flat and do nothing, the linebacker could stay in his spot, keep his eyes on the quarterback because he knows the running back's just going to sit there and do nothing because that's what LaFleur always does. And then the wide receiver, when he comes on his in route, when he beats the corner, Love can't throw the ball because the linebacker's still there. because it's a zone, and the linebacker knows the running back's just going to sit in the freaking flat, so I'm cool. I can cover this receiver now. And now the receiver's double teamed. Love can't throw that ball, and he has to dump it to the running back, who then gets immediately tackled for -1 yard. Because there is no route combinations. It's all just dumb. And you're just feeding into the defense. Like, it's kind of, actually what it is this. Matt LaFleur's offense is great for the crappy passive defense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he likes it so much, because he realizes that he has so much trouble with that crappy passive defense. Because his offense is just as crappy and passive. So he thinks that the crappy passive defense is actually good because he can't figure it out. When in reality, it's not good. When you have a good coach with a good offense, it'll chew it up. But of course, Matt LaFleur's offense also sucks against the aggressive defense. But sometimes it's pretty good. Because if Jordan Love can pick up the blitz and run backwards 20 yards and throw off his back foot, sometimes he gets a lucky pass where, Tucker Kraft pushes a guy and then catches it and runs for 80 yards. That can happen too.
That's fair.
So you never know, and that's what Matt LaFleur sees, right? He sees this, so he probably thinks that's a good defense because he can't do anything against it. I don't know.
It just killed me how many times Aaron Jones just got destroyed because he was freaking sitting there for 10 million years and just waiting, and then they finally, Rodgers finally threw it to him, and the guys were all over him. 3 guys all over him, and that's, I don't understand it because I watch these other teams. I watch them check the ball down. It's effective. Guys but they're on the move usually on the check down. They're not just sitting there, and they're also not so far away from the quarterback. Like I don't know. I don't know why it's coached that way. It has to be coached that way, right? Why is because the running back is like almost all the way to the sideline and where he sits,
which is so dumb because he has nowhere to go.
Exactly. Like what?
You can only go inside where everybody already is. So you're going right into where the defense is because there is no other option.
These are just some of the reasons why I'm just so frustrated that we stuck with these guys. This is for what? I don't know. I have a lot of concerns for this upcoming season. I mean, I'll still be a Packer fan, but I do not think I am going into this season with low expectations. Lee earlier said 11-6 next year. Come on, Lee. I hope that's in jest a little bit. I mean, come on. I think I don't have a lot of faith in this coach. I don't have a lot of faith in what's going on. There's a whole lot of stuff that's got to be fixed for the offensive line or the offensive approach. With this offensive line, you got to find a center. There's some people saying that their plan for center is Jacob Monk. Like, are you kidding me? No.
Yeah. You're going to have Jordan Morgan and Jacob Monk and
Jesus
Banks
balls.
and
then
Belton and Zach Tom. You're going to have one good offensive lineman on your whole team.
And we need to draft a big guy or get a big guy or probably a couple of big guys on the defensive line because we're undersized there. I don't know. I don't know how it works, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
I don't either.
But we will once again not be watching the Packers in the Super Bowl. So it's Seahawks and the Patriots. And I know nobody wants to see that matchup again necessarily, but
nobody.
Here it is. And so I'm pulling for Sammy D to get one, and then you can say who's better, Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers. They both have won Super Bowl. You can say that.
That'd be good, actually. That's the Sammy D. That's the guy.
He deserves it. That guy's been through a lot of shit.
Well, plus he'll kill the Vikings fans. Yep. Trust me, I live in Minnesota, dude.
What do they say? What are they saying?
They're so pissed. They're so pissed. But then I just remind them. I was like, you guys do realize last year when he was a free agent and you could have signed him back and the Vikings chose to stick with J.J. McCarthy, all you guys told me, well, we trust O'Connell. They must know that J.J. is going to be good. I mean, we got a Super Bowl winning team. All we need is a halfway decent quarterback. We got the team. You had a halfway decent quarterback. You won 14 games last year. You had him on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you did with Kirk O'Chains, who was a very good quarterback, but you guys didn't appreciate him. So you did the same thing with Sammy Darnold. You didn't appreciate him. And it all goes back to, I don't know. It's either that Kwesi the Fomensa guy, who I think is a freaking ding-dong idiot, or Kevin O'Connell. Whichever one of them is the one that decided that J.J. McCarthy is the guy to stick with, should really be fired. Like the Wilfs need to find out who it is, the owners of the Vikings, and fire that guy now. Because the difference between the Seahawks and the Vikings right now is basically Sam Darnold and yeah, actually the running backs are pretty good too though. Like
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
pretty
think
good.
the Vikings like Aaron Jones is great, but he's not a he's kind of long in the tooth. He's no Kenneth Walker, or Zach Charbonnet or whatever his name is. Though he was hurt in the playoff game, the last one, but still, those two guys are pretty damn good at running back. But their defense, the Seahawks defense, is just as aggressive and tough as the Vikings defense. And I think they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I wanted them on the Packers. Instead, we took frickin' Jaden Reed in the second round or whatever that same year, of course.
All the guys that we targeted. Look at how good they are.
And I was like, I don't know. He's not really great at anything. This Jackson Smith and Jigba guy when he was coming out, but I was just like, he just does everything pretty good, and he'd be a really solid, smart, good player who could just do things that you need to have happen. And he doesn't drop balls. And that's the problem with Jaden Reed. He drops too many balls. But they're very similar players.
You just said that he always gets open.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. He always gets open. He's not the blazing fast. He's not the biggest guy. He's not all the thing, but he just always gets open. Well, that's probably that and catching the ball are the two most important things for a receiver to be successful in a passing game.
If you do that, you're going to catch a lot of balls for a lot of yards. Oh, what? Who led the league in freaking yards this year? Oh, yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Oh, interesting. And who else had a really good year? Oh, yeah, George Pickens. Oh, who said to draft that guy? Oh, yeah, me. It's like we could have had them. They were in the same draft, I think. Oh, no. Actually, we could have had them both because Pickens was the year before. Yep. Jackson Smith and Jigba was the year after. Now, I probably wouldn't even said to draft Jackson Smith and Jigba if he would have drafted George Pickens. Actually, maybe I still would have. Because we had Romeo and we had Christian Watson, and I was still saying draft Jackson Smith and Jigba. So apparently I still wanted that, but whatever. I'm never right. So far, every single guy I've ever wanted the Packers to draft has been great. And they never draft him, except for Devontae Wyatt. That's the only guy I wanted to take, and they actually took.
Yeah.
And he, gets tired after one play. So if he just had some stamina, damn, he'd be a good player.
Yeah. I saw a thing. He was on somebody's list for free agents, but they picked him his fifth-year option, right?
Yeah, he's not.
Okay. That was a bad list. Okay,
that was a bad list.
That's what I thought. I was like, I'm pretty damn sure they picked him his fifth-year option, so he's on the team. He's getting whatever, but
Rick sent that out, and like the Packers had like 5 guys out of the top 50 free agents, and I'm like, well, then why weren't they any good? Why do we have no? Like, and I understand, like, a lot of times if you're a free agent, you're probably not a Pro Bowler because you would be signed back to your team. But still, with Romeo and, Malik Willis and Quay Walker was on there, and Rasheed Wallace was on, Rasheed Walker was on there. Rasheed Wallace. Okay, I'm not talking basketball. Rasheed Walker. So you're talking those 4 guys at least were on there. Not to mention, I think Sean Ryan should be in there. He played great. He's a free agent. Like, I don't know. All those guys were key contributors to that team that we're not going to have, and we're going to have to replace. And at this point, there's nobody on the roster to replace really any of those guys except for Romeo. Like, we have enough receivers, so we can let Romeo go. But for sure, the 2 offensive linemen, that's a problem. Quay Walker, we could probably get somebody else. I saw that Leo Chanel's a free agent. Maybe we could sign him.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's what it said. Sign him and just let Quay Walker go. Boom. It solves your linebacker problem.
I like that.
And then who else was there? Somebody else I saw was a free agent. I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Oh, a center. Lindenbaum, center. He's a free agent. But we don't have any money, though. So we can't sign these guys when they have no money.
Which team did
I don't know what you do. By putting your elbow on your thing, you just made your sound
which
muted.
Which team did Bradbury go to?
Bradbury? What Bradbury?
Remember the guy who was the Vikings drafted at center, and then he was terrible, or they thought.
Oh, I don't know.
They let him go. He was on one of the final 4 teams. It might be the Patriots.
Really?
It might be the Patriots. He's like the center, and he's starting at center for one of the playoff teams. I saw him in there. I was like,
yeah, but Mo always hated him when he was there, so I don't know. Maybe he sucked.
Everybody hated him, and I mean, Kenny Clark used to truck him. I get it, but like at the same time, You know,
It can't be good if Kenny Clark beats you all the time. What does that say about you? I don't know, but
I'm trying to find one other sound bit.
Did you see that Keyshawn Nixon is in the Pro Bowl?
I did see it. Yeah.
Yet everybody said he sucks. All Packer fans hate him.
I know he had a few bad games, but he had a lot of pass breakups.
Right. I'm sure he's like the 20th cornerback or something, because they all said no to doing it, so he ended up getting there. But still, because the Pro Bowl is just a joke now. Anybody can get there, really. But yet we still only have one guy there, because Micah's too hurt to play, so he can't be there. Not that he'd go anyways. So we have Keyshawn Nixon is the only Packer, I think. Though Daniel Whalen should be there, but he's not.
Yeah, he should. 100%.
Tucker Kraft, if he wouldn't have got hurt. Actually, Tucker Kraft, I think his stats are better than most tight ends right now anyways. He should probably be there anyways, even though he only played half the year.
That's crazy. Here, this was something out of the Hafley and Sully press conference that I wanted. I don't know. I remember we talked about it. I remember we speculated about it. But I think he kind of gave it away and confirmed our suspicions. This is what Sully said here. Is he up there?
Yeah.
And we'll be very selective and deliberate in free agency. I think you have to be. If you're not, you're treading in dangerous waters. But then there's certain principles within that again, I won't get into because I'm helping out our competition. But I just think the culture and the caliber of players that we've targeted over time, and then the intentionality of the standard, if you will, within how we go about our draft process allows us to pick good players, but also hit on players in the middle and late rounds. I think this is not to sit up here and pat myself on the back or say that Green Bay is a perfect place. Look, it's not an exact science. We've missed. You guys can do your homework. We've missed, but we've hit on a lot of players over my time there in the middle to late rounds that allow us to be successful and get value out of players that maybe some other teams aren't.
Well, now we know who drafted him.
Yep. Like, not here to pat myself on the back, but
Well, I'm here to pat myself on the back, but I'm the guy who drafted Evan Williams.
Shit.
I'm the guy who drafted Zach Tom. I'm not gonna pat myself on the back. I'm the guy who drafted Romeo Dobbs. I'm not gonna tell you that. You know what else I found interesting during that press conference?
Yeah.
He said, because they asked him, what are you going to do about the quarterback? Because Tua, we don't like him and we want him out of town. And he's like, well, Tua, he's a nice guy and blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, we're going to do is, from the Packers, we used to draft a quarterback every other year to try to have a good. Look at the backups. The Brett Favre was Matt Hasselbeck and Aaron Brooks and Ty Detmer and he didn't even mention Mark Brunell.
I know, he forgot Mark Brunell. Yeah, it was funny.
But he mentioned all those guys, and I'm like, okay, well, what about the last 20 years, Sully? Because when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, we didn't draft jack shit.
Because he was so delicate.
Right. We couldn't afford to have anybody behind him because he might get mad.
Yeah.
But he didn't bring up any of the last 20 years, which I think he's only been there for 20 years. So it's funny because he brought up guys that before he even got there, which makes no sense. But he likes that idea. Hey, we're going to take a guy who's good. Matt Hasselbeck was a 6th-round pick who went on to become a Pro Bowl and Super Bowl quarterback who got screwed by the refs. Mm-hmm. But that's what he was. Aaron Brooks was a late-round pick who turned into a Pro Bowler and started for the Saints for many years. Mark Brunell I think he was a 2nd-round pick, actually, but I can't remember. But still went on to start for the Jaguars for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Ty Detmer was a Heisman Trophy winner, didn't do jack shit in the NFL, but he did play for the Eagles for a couple games here and there. Hey, but anyways,
he taught Brett Favre what the nickel defense was.
Right. Well, Favre didn't know anything. We all know that. He didn't know what it was. Like, what, nickel? That's what that means? It's 5 D. Well, that's stupid. I knew there's 5 defensive backs. I watched. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 fingers. I could count it. Okay. Anyways, that's the Brett Favre counting style. If it goes above 10, he's got to take his shoes off. But that's besides the point. We're not getting into Favre right now. But I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because Goody doesn't do that, and neither did Ted Thompson. They didn't draft. Well, they drafted Brett Hundley. That was awesome. They drafted,
Graham Harrell.
Graham Harrell. They drafted your guy, birthday buddy, and then shipped him out of town.
Clifford. Oh.
And they traded for Malik Willis. Well, what are we going to do next year? Because Jordan Love's going to be hurt for 3-4 games. He is every year. This ain't no Brett Favre situation, guys. This is Jordan Love. He's hurt for at least 2-3 games, 4 games a year. Who's going to play quarterback?
I don't know.
Clayton Tune?
I can't even see
balls. Now, he didn't get to practice all week. We didn't know that as fans when we watched the game against the Vikings, the last game. We were like, why does this guy suck so bad? Then we come out and find out he never practiced once with the whole team ever. Jordan Love took all the practice reps in the week, and they just threw Clayton Tune out there. Well, no wonder why he sucked, Matt LaFleur, you dumbass.
And
threw him to the Wolves.
And everybody's here's my fear. Well, I have 2 fears about that because the record's going to be so tight because you're not. You have all these things we talked about that are going to make them not a dominant team. And then Jordan Love's going to miss some games. Is there a decent free agent experienced option out there to add to your team? I don't know of one that the Packers would actually do. And on top of it, now everybody credits, Matt LaFleur. Look what he did for Malik Willis. He turned him around. Like it was all Matt LaFleur. Wow. Amazing, right? And I'm sure he helped him some, but I'm sure a lot of that was Malik Willis busting his ass and like doing everything, and a lot of his natural skill and just his own perspective and learning from how he was just thrown in there with Tennessee and how it flamed out. So, but that also makes me think they're going to be like, well, Matt turned him around. We'll just get any young guy. Here you go, Matt. Coach him up. He'd be a great backup quarterback.
Go get the guy who liked Mayo. What was his name? From the Titans. The guy they drafted, the reason why they shipped Malik Willis out of town.
Will Levis?
Will Levis. Go get that guy. Bring him in. He's got talent. And the Titans gave up on him already because they drafted Ward, #1 pick last year, so they don't want him anymore. Let's go get him again. We'll do another trade. Is he still on the Titans even roster? I don't even know.
I would think so. Because he's still in his
only deal. I think he's only his 3rd year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go trade for him. Okay. Might as well. It worked the last time. Do it again. And then guess what? A couple years, get Cam Ward because he'll be also sucky because the Titans are crap. It doesn't matter if Robert Sala's there and Brian Dable is the offense coordinator, I guess. Did you hear that?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Titans hired Brian Dable as their offense coordinator. So you got 2 former head coaches from other teams running the defense and the offense for the Titans. So if they can't turn that around with those 2 guys, that just proves that the Titans are just a disaster.
Yeah.
And maybe Jeff Fisher is a much better coach than we ever thought he ever was.
Sure.
Because he had the Titans as playoff perennial teams for years and years and years. And nobody gave him a crap.
That's fair.
And then he went to the Rams and he got fired.
Yeah.
Or Sean McVay. After they drafted Jared Goff, who sucked at #1 pick, and they blamed it on Jeff Fisher and fired him.
The only thing I'll be paying attention to right now is where Malik Willis goes. Other than that, I'm not paying attention to.
Well, it's probably going to be the Dolphins.
I hope it is. I think it'll give Hafley a good chance to be successful right away, and I think it'll give Willis a good chance to be successful and do it. Be successful. The Packers don't want to keep you around. Go be successful somewhere else. Do it. Best of luck to you.
I just figured out who our backup quarterbacks would be next year.
Who?
Russell Wilson. Because nobody else is going to want him. He's not going to get a starting job. And he's played for every other team already. There's no more teams left.
Oh my God!
So watch, he'll come and be the backup for the Pack.
I'd be okay with like a Heineke or one of these other dudes that bounced around a little bit. I don't care. They had Desmond Ridder for what 2 weeks or a week or something. Got rid of him.
Yeah.
Maybe Kirko would come over.
Kirko Chade's going back to the Vikings. That's how sad it is, dude. Vikings fans are talking about that. They're talking about, well, we could just bring Kirko Chades back and let JJ learn for 1 more year. And it's like, no. You should have just kept Kirko Chades in the first place.
Yeah.
And
then when you lucked out with, you took a gamble on Sam Darnold and it worked, then just were like, no.
Plus you had Daniel Jones on your roster and he had a freaking awesome year.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny to be, because They give me crap. They're like, "Oh, you guys got beat by the Bears. You had a huge lead and you lost." And I'm like, "Well, at least we had a quarterback. At least we didn't win a game where we threw for -6 yards in the game and still won the game somehow. I don't know how you guys pulled that off on Christmas. That was the ugliest game I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen that ever again in my life. That was the ugliest game I've ever seen a quarterback ever have. Max Brosmer was absolutely terrible.
Was it? Are we talking like Randy Wright level or
No, worse.
worse than Randy Wright? Not Randy White. Randy Wright.
Yeah, not the Cowboys guy, the Packer guy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, worse than that.
Wow.
We're talking
Worse than Dillwig? Anthony
worse
Dillwig?
than Dillwig. We're talking Blair Keel. We're talking worse than Blair Keel.
Worse than Blair Keel, too? Holy.
Yeah, we're talking some Brett Hundley type play here.
You know, I remember, I don't know why, I don't remember a lot of things, especially from my childhood, but for whatever reason, I remember when Anthony Dillwig came into the game a couple times and being really excited and be like, yeah, Anthony Dillwig, he's good. And then watching him play and thinking he was good. I don't know why back then.
Why did you think that?
I don't know. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, he's a Packer. He's a quarter. He's in.
All skinny and nerd, and he sucked.
Yeah, he was not good.
Plus, we had Magic, but Magic got hurt. And then we had to play Anthony Dillwig and Blair Keel, and then we had to play Mike Tomczak.
Oh, my God.
Remember we had Mike Tomczak for a while?
Yep, I do.
Those early 90s were bad when Mikowski got hurt. And then he just never the same. Tore his rotator cuff, and that was the end. He lost his zip. Lost his zippity-doo-dah.
And these days, the surgery's so different, he would have...
He'd be fine nowadays.
Yeah, that's garbage.
Well, and it led to the great barf. Barf, barf, barf,
Yeah.
barf.
There you go. Could have never had that chapter.
Now the Bears have the barf of the new millennium. Caleb Williams.
Oh, my God.
You don't know what he's going to do. You got to watch. That's a Brett Favre. I got to watch Brett Favre. Randy Moss. Now you're seeing, I got Caleb Williams. I got to watch Caleb Williams. You don't know what's going to happen.
How many? So very clearly, right, right out of the gate, the way the rookie seasons went, everybody was like, "Man, Jaden Daniels was the guy to take. So much better than Caleb Williams." Blah 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 blah. After this year, what does everybody think?
The opposite. Because Jaden Daniels, the reason why I didn't like Jaden Daniels was because he was 6'3" or 6'4", and he weighed 120 pounds.
He is really skinny.
I'm over exaggerating it, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like he weighs 120 pounds. That guy ain't gonna last. He's too damn skinny. He's gonna get torn in half, like break in half. Caleb Williams is a pretty sizable dude for like as weird as he is. But
And he's got
Jaden Daniels always scared me. I'm like, this guy, I don't know. I think he's talented and all that kind of stuff, but the Bears made the right choice, sort of. If he could just learn how to play from the pocket and actually complete a pass that's like a 10-yard pass and an out route and not overthrow it by a freaking 5 yards. I don't know how, when there's nobody around him in a clean pocket, I don't get how that happens. It's just weird. Because Favre's not like that.
Daniels is better from the pocket for sure. Like he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good thrower, but he reminds me. You know, what he reminds me of when he's like normally when he's doing stuff like going to make a play or running outside or running outside the pocket or whatever. He reminds me a little of Pepe Le Pew because he doesn't look like he's running that fast or whatever, but he's still evading guys for the most part, or at least he was until he started getting injured. But Caleb Williams is running. You're just like, that dude's crazy and crazy fast and whatever. And Daniels always looks like he's kind of just chilling, like I'm just drifting over here, chilling like Pepe Le Pew style, and then I'm gonna get where I want to go. I still think for the Bears,
I don't get the Pepe Le Pew thing.
You don't get it. Oh, remember how the cat would run super? She'd always get the paint on her back. So then Pepe thought she was a skunk. They wanted to go give her the kiss and like mooch up to her and all that. And so she was always running like they show the scenes and the cat's like running super fast, trying to escape Pepe Le Pew. And then they show Pepe and he's just like prancing, boom, ba-doom, ba-doom. And he'd always end up catching her. Always end up being where he wanted to be. That's Jaden
So you're
Daniels.
saying Pepe Le Pew is actually like Rashawn Gary, except Rashawn Gary never gets the girl.
or the quarterback.
Right. That's what I mean.
Unless
like
they run into him. Yeah. Unless Micah Parsons scares them into him. Yeah.
Because Rashawn Gary is a Pepe Le Pew. He plays like a pew.
I don't know. That just popped into my head. That's what it
That is weird.
I know it's
But
weird.
I totally forgot about him. Pepe
Weird.
Le Pew. He was smooth with the ladies though.
Yeah.
You gotta know that. That guy.
That poor cat always had that white paint hanging around and always went down her back, and then he thought she was a skunk.
It's a dumb move by her.
I know. All right. Well, with that, enjoy the rest of the.
I don't know. There's a lot of good tunes. Duck season, Wabbit season. That's a great one.
Yeah,
that's one of the best.
Yeah.
They're all on YouTube. I show my kids that they don't laugh as much as me, but I'm like, listen, this is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, they
Oh,
don't. They don't think it's funny. I
Oh,
show them all.
man.
I show them trip to 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 trip it. Daffy's my favorite. I love Daffy Duck because he's an idiot, but he gets so mad all the time. He reminds me of myself. He's stupid. He gets mad about stuff, and nothing ever goes right, and he's just always pissed all the time. So I'm like, yeah, I relate to that Daffy Duck guy. He's got great ideas. He always comes up with a great idea. It just never works right at the end. Something always goes wrong.
It's kind of like
But it
real
was a
life.
damn good idea. It's a damn good idea. That guy,
Mm-hmm.
Daffy Duck.
Mm-hmm.
Bugs Bunny, that's you. You're just lucky. Everything always goes right. For no reason whatsoever. You're kind of a jerk sometimes. And yet here you are, you just get it all like a lucky guy. You're you're Bugs Bunny.
I'm just chomping on my carrot off to the side while everyone else stresses. And...
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. You're not that guy. Used to be Tasmanian Devil back in the day.
I was. He was my favorite.
He used to bite my shoulder all the time. And
Yeah. I still might.
yeah.
All right.
And then I was Yosemite Sam, and I shoot you.
Ooh. I always felt bad for Wile E. Coyote. He got jobbed the most.
Well, it's because Acme Packing Company.
He fell off that cliff 8 million times and blew himself up so many times.
That's just like the Packers. How many times does Wile E. Coyote end up underneath the Acme box? A bunch. The Acme Packers are just like Wile E. Coyote. They get close, they get the playoffs, and then they just get foiled every time.
And
Who's the road runner? It's the freaking 49ers. It's Matt LaFleur's demon.
Yeah,
49ers. It's the freaking Eagles. Now it's Ben Johnson.
And the Bears. Why are the Bears going to be... Ugh. Are we going to be able to handle the Bears beating us for like 10 straight years?
And our coach just taking it.
And our players after the game, instead of being upset, just shaking hands and hugging it out with all the Bears players. And
Not all of them. Evan
yeah.
Williams and Javon Bullard were pissed. They were on the sidelines, super pissed, sitting on the bench. They're like, I ain't shaking no damn Bears' hands. Screw that.
They don't want to lose. The other guys they're fine with it, I guess.
Yeah, well,
That's
they're
annoying.
jerks and they're idiots.
Whew. All right. Well, hopefully the Seahawks can win their second Super Bowl. Sorry, I forgot about their first one, but I hated that one. And
Should be
Sammy
their
D-
third.
Right, should be. And
Hasselbeck got screwed.
Sammy D can win one. That'd be nice.
That's really sad though. If Sam Darnold gets a Super Bowl with the Seahawks and Matt Hasselbeck doesn't,
I know.
it's just dumb. The world is just dumb.
It does suck, but
Ben Roethlisberger doesn't deserve 2 Super Bowls.
no.
He didn't do anything in either of those 2 Super Bowls. I still think that second one, when he threw that pass to the sidelines, it looked like, what was that, Santana Moss or whoever that freaking guy's name was? He only had one toe down. The other toe was on top of the other toe. It didn't actually touch the ground. That should not have been a catch.
I thought I looked at it a bunch of times, and he did. He actually got his. I was amazed he actually got his stupid feet in. It was insane and ridiculous, and it would have been amazing. It would have been an amazing story that the 9-7 Kurt Warner led after he was cast aside for 5 years. Cardinals would have won that Super Bowl. That would have been freaking amazing. Instead, it's a puke Ben Roethlisberger and Steelers win.
Yeah, but it was James Harrison. James Harrison is the guy who won that game on that pick 6 at the end of the first half. When he took it all the way, he took it like 90 freaking 6 yards or whatever it was, all the way for a touchdown. That was awesome. Because that's a guy who was like undrafted and just crazy, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of guy you can root for. Anybody who's that crazy, gets undrafted and just makes awesome plays all the time. That's your Tyrone Williams. You know,
No, Tremont Williams, not
Tyrone
Tyrone
Oh
Williams.
my God, Tyrone Williams. Tremont Williams. You're right. Tyrone Williams was the greatest cornerback in his own mind.
Jack just showed up. He says he's fine with our teams just trading wins each year. No, come on, Jack.
Don't say that.
You got to dominate us. You got to make the Packers pay and fire their coach.
Yes.
We need that coach fired.
I'm a Bears fan now, I think.
And if the Bears start taking us down regularly, Matt LaFleur will be fired. Finally, that will be fine. And Goody can get fired too. Ooh, Rick's back, and he says the rivalry. He went on so long. Rick's back. Rivalries are more fun when competitive. Most entertaining football you've seen in a long time. Hey, Jack. Packers are good every year. Not so much anymore.
See, Jack's young. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
If you were around when 1985, when the Bears just beat the crap out of everybody and it was no fun and we got our asses kicked all the damn time in the 80s, the Bears killed us every year. That's why we hate the Bears, Jack. You must be a young feller. You don't know what it's like.
You're
well,
good,
you know
Jack.
what it's like because we
You're
kicked the
not
crap
being-
out of you guys for the last bunch of years.
You're good, Jack. You're not being mean. And you wouldn't be mean either if you just wanted your team to win.
Yeah.
We get it.
I got to tell you, I think you guys got a good situation going with your quarterback, with your coach, with your team. Your team building right. You built with the offensive line. Your defense looks pretty decent.
Defense is aggressive.
You got playmakers at wide receiver and tight end. You got some good young tight ends. Oh, geez, I don't even like. The more I think about it, I hate it.
Your worst wideout is the one you paid a bunch of money to.
Yeah, kind of.
The other ones are pretty good.
Yeah. And I will say this: you prioritize special teams. Evan Duvernay was another guy I liked that year when he came out in the draft because
He
of
is
his
good.
special teams return ability. And I was like, I don't care. You can draft him in the 4th round and have him be your return guy.
Yeah.
Packers don't care about return guys. They would rather take a bunch of receivers who don't know how to return anything, and then they sit them on the team, and they got 6 good receivers, but they're not great, and none of them have return ability. Evan Duvernay would have been a great draft pick. I liked him coming out of the draft, and the Bears signed him to get him. And look at what the Seahawks did. They traded for frickin' what's-his-face with the Saints, and he returned kick for a touchdown, and he's had huge frickin' returns in the playoffs. What's that dude's name? I can't remember his name.
Shaheed.
Yeah, and he's a free agent, though, so they might lose him after this year. But still,
Rashid Shaheed.
they traded for him to go and win the damn Super Bowl on special teams. And the
Smart.
Packers don't give a shit about special teams, and that's why we lose games. And at least when we're up against a team that's pretty good, like we are, that's the difference. We don't have the special team. That third phase of the game, we're always going to be worse at, and that's going to cost us the game.
There's so many holes. And how do we fix them? Offensive line, defensive line. We need a new kicker. We
haven't had a return guy. Like, do people not remember the reason why we won the Super Bowl in 1996-97 was Desmond Howard?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just Desmond Howard. It was Jeff Thomason. It was Lamont Hollenquist. It was Bernardo Harris. It was Keith McKenzie. The 4 guys on the freaking wedge team. Now, that wedge is outlawed, and plus the kick returns is not the same anymore. But still, that year, the Packers prioritized the return game. And we had the best special teams, the best return game in the league. And it was a difference maker. And we haven't had that really since then. I can't think of another return guy we had. Can you?
Well, Micah was good, but they didn't.
Oh, Micah Hyde, yeah.
Yeah, Micah was. He didn't do kick returns though. He wasn't like a multi-return guy. He was a really good punt returner. And then Cobb was good, but then they switched him to being a receiver right away. But Micah was really good punt returner, and then they didn't sign him back. And then
I think Alan Rossum was the last guy that we signed to be a kick return
to be a returner guy, yeah, and not as much as.
Well, I
others.
mean, Keyshawn, I guess, was they gave him the extra contract because he was a kick return guy, but then he was like, I'm cornerback 1, so I don't want to do kick returns anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. But even still, we don't have the type of guys who are on the team to just be special teams players. Like I just mentioned 4 guys who are they weren't starters. Bernardo was not a starter on the Super Bowl winning team.
Mm-hmm.
Keith McKenzie was a rookie. He was not a pass rush specialist yet. He got in there once in a blue moon, but hardly ever. And we know that Jeff Thomason was the third tight end after Fatty Keith and Mark Chibura. And then who's the other guy I said? Well, Lamont Hollandquest was like the 6th linebacker.
Yeah, he was just a badass, though.
But they were badasses on special teams. They were all badasses on special teams. Not to mention Terry Mickens, who was a freaking awesome gunner and a tough guy who played on special teams for a couple years. Just don't care.
Jack's got a question for us. Wants to know what our thoughts are on Love. He's obviously good, but do you worry you're in a Dak Prescott situation?
Jordan Love is the type of player when if everything looks good and the play runs the way it's supposed to and the first read's there, then he could complete it. He's fairly accurate. He can throw off from weird angles. He's got a fairly strong arm. His playmaking ability is not there, though. If you look at a lot of big plays the Packers have downfield, they're not because Jordan Love ran around and then made a play. It's not Caleb Williams' situation. It's not even Aaron Rodgers' situation. He's not nearly as athletic as Aaron Rodgers was. The other thing is he doesn't have the ability like Aaron Rodgers had to throw a ball downfield and the guy would catch it, and then because he was open and in stride, and then keep going for the touchdown. Jordan Love throws up balls and hopes that his guy can jump up and make a play. And he's lucky because Romeo Doubs can do that. He's lucky that Tucker Kraft could do that. He's lucky that Jaden Reed is pretty good at doing that. But guess what? Those guys were hurt a lot of the year this year, and Romeo Doubs is going to be gone. So his lucky throw it up and hope it comes down to the right guy is probably not going to work next year. So I don't know what Love is. He's a pocket quarterback in an NFL that now the pocket quarterback is starting to become a dinosaur. The best quarterbacks in the NFL are no longer just sit back and pocket quarterbacks, unless they're old and they're so damn smart that they can get away with that.
You're right, though. I mean, that's his thing, thrown from the pocket, but he's not as accurate as he needs to be like that next level quarterback. Yeah. Because if you're going to be a pocket guy, you got to be like super precise and on time and anticipate and put the ball where you want all the time, and that's not him. He puts it close to where he wants most of the time. Some to most of the time.
He's more accurate than Caleb Williams in the pocket.
Yeah, for sure. But he's the athleticism is just not there. It's just if you watch all the
doesn't help him either. By the way,
100%. And it's a mismatch. We talked about this last week on our show, Jack. That he's a complete mismatch with his offensive coach and offensive system. Like he does not fit this system. He looks best in the times where he's just in shotgun and throwing the ball and deciphering and finding a guy that's open and letting it rip. He does not work with all the roll out boots and plays that you need to make as an athlete quarterback that work best for the system. So that's what makes it challenging and makes it not work sometimes. Why the Packers offense stalls sometimes is oftentimes because of that. I think we think he's a good dude. We've said that. We think he's pretty good. We're the most negative Packer fans ever. I don't know about that. There's got to be some more negative Packer fans than us out there. We're just
not negative. We're honest.
I'm negative about this current regime staying in place, Matt LaFleur and Goody and what we've got, because it doesn't make sense. It's going to bring us no playoff wins, no Super Bowls. I'll tell you that. But that's reality. I mean, we can say that it would, but we'd be lying to you just to be positive. We don't do that here. Sorry. We don't lick the Packer boots and drink the Kool-Aid. We tell you what we really think. And unfortunately for us and anybody, that's out there, we're right. We have been right genuinely most of the time about a lot of things related to this Packers team over the last 7 years doing this show. So I like Jordan Love. He's not worth top dollar. He's a good quarterback. We've talked about that. He doesn't fit the system that great. And it's going to be interesting to see because Romeo Doubs was his security blanket. Romeo, if he needed something, he is going to Romeo Doubs, and it's very unlikely that Romeo Doubs will be back. So what does that look like moving forward? I have no idea.
And a lot of people touted his greatest game. One of his best games was the Tucker Kraft game, where Tucker Kraft had 100-some yards, and almost every pass he threw was like a 5-yard pass or a throw it up in the air, and the guy jump up and grab it, and then they made plays after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
And Tucker Kraft had like 140 yards receiving, and 125 of it was after the catch. But everybody said about how great Jordan Love was that game. No, it was Tucker Kraft making guys miss and running over guys.
No.
And Matt LaFleur better freaking realize it next year and get him the damn ball and call plays that are specifically for Tucker Kraft. And
right,
guess
he's
what?
the number one.
Matthew Golden, he should be number 2.
Yeah.
Because the way he played against the Bears, now just that one play showed me this guy gives a crap and he can make guys miss. Get him the damn ball.
Not just on the sideline. Get him the ball where he has a little room to do something with it.
God dang.
Right? It's not that hard. I mean,
Watson downfield. I mean, we got the weapons.
There's a scenario you could see it if Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love says we're gonna prioritize getting the ball to Tucker Kraft and we're gonna not worry about having to. I don't care if it's a 5-yard pass. Tucker Kraft even said, I don't care. Throw me the ball wherever. Just get it in my hands and let me do something with it. Like, if they do that, they will be successful. If they embrace that as a staple of their offense, getting the ball to 85 when he's back, and I'm sure he's working his ass off. He'll probably be back in time for training camp. Yeah. But if they embrace that, they could all be very successful. Like, the good quarterbacks know, and if you watch and if you listen to some of the quarterbacks that are commentators now, and Brady will say it all the time, he's like, he watches these guys check the ball down or get the ball to somebody, and then the guy, it's a short pass. The guy turns it into something. He's like, that's a quarterback's best friend. Brady understands that. Most good quarterbacks can embrace and understand that. Aaron Rodgers never liked that because Aaron Rodgers wanted to make it. The play was because of his awesome throw, not that he'd actually say in press conferences after games, if he made a short pass and somebody turned into a big play, he'd be like, well, I didn't really do anything on that play. And he'd be almost disappointed that they had a successful play or a big touchdown play because his throw wasn't the reason. Like, he threw a 5-yard pass, the guy took it 60 yards. He hated that.
But Jordan Love actually had those plays.
Jordan Love has to make sure he doesn't embrace that he wasn't infected by Aaron Rodgers to think that that's got to be about his throw. It's just about getting the ball to whoever and making plays.
Listen,
I don't think that
positive. We can be positive about this.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Our offensive line is an issue, and that's the biggest problem. But I think we've got weapons if they're healthy. On defense, if Gannon plays this freaking sit back and do nothing defense, that's terrible. But we have good players at every spot except for D tackle. We need some help. And at corner, we're pretty bad. But every place else, we got some solid stuff. Or a superstar, which helps you. And we just need to get rid of dead weight, like Rashawn Gary, bye. Like, get out of town, and then there you go. So we're going to be negative because we have high standards because we don't listen. I want to see good football. I'm more of a football fan than I am a Packer fan at this stage. I mean, I've been living in Minnesota for 20 freaking years. So, like, it's hard to be I actually don't even watch the Brewers anymore. Don't care. I used to be a huge Brewer fan. Don't watch the Cubs anymore. Yep. Used to be my dad's favorite team. Don't care. Even the Bucks. I know they're falling apart this year. They haven't really been paying attention. They were actually on Amazon Prime the other day. I could watch it. I started watching the first quarter and I shut it off because I was like, this is crap. I don't even know who half these guys are. And for some reason, Bobby Portis came in the game and they never did anything with him. And I'm like, why is he not starting, first of all? And second of all, when he does come in, why are they not doing anything with him? And who the hell is this 50 guy who sucks? Didn't like it. So I was done with the Bucks. I'm done with the Bucks. But I love football. I love the game because it's strategic. It has, it's not just a athletic game. It's also thinking. So if you can be smart enough as a player or as a coach, you can then take advantage of other teams' stupidity. And unfortunately, at this point, we are the other teams with the stupidity. And a lot of times. And it's because of our coaching, somewhat of our players, but a lot of time it's mostly player choice in the draft and not necessarily taking players who can be tough. And we do need some ass kickers on our team. We have a lot of ass kissers already.
Yeah.
But we need some ass kickers. And that's something that we're missing. Like, we're supposed to be the tough guys. There used to be a time back when I was a kid when we didn't lose in Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was cold and people didn't want to come there, and we kicked the crap out of them and win. And now Lambeau doesn't have the mystique it used to have. Like, they can't even sell, like there was a time where you couldn't look, you would look in the stands of a Packer game, even when we're losing in the 80s. It would still be all Packer fans. Nowadays, we have a winning record, and half the field, or like not three quarters, maybe like a quarter to a third of the stadium is wearing the other opposing team's jersey because the fans are selling their tickets away, even though we're like a 500 team or better. That's wrong. And it's not just us. It's like Packer fans have either, like, I don't know. It's very different than other teams. Like the Bears, you guys have a chance to be something, and you're excited again. And I think, and the Lions fans the last couple of years have been super excited. They're buying a bunch of tickets when they go to away. Like, there's a lot of Lions fans on every game. When I'm watching a Lions game, there's Lions fans everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are these Lions fans? I never heard of the Lions even had any fans. All of a sudden, here they're everywhere. And it's almost like the Packer fans are so used to winning.
Yeah.
That now that we're kind of like in the middle of the pack and we're kind of like, they're like, I don't want to be in the middle of the pack. I'm only going to show up when they're really good. And I demand to be really good. And that's why we're going to talk about the things that are not good so that people learn and understand, hey, this is why things didn't work, and this is how we can improve and become the awesome team that we were from 2010 to 2014. Because that was when we were dominant and we kicked the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, what's missing, right? Because I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point because a lot of Packer fans will get very excited, about the season, see the team go. We make the playoffs. We got our hopes up, and then it ends and we lose. And a lot of Packer fans maybe don't understand why, or they're like they think, oh, we just had a bad game, or oh, it was because of this thing or that thing. When most of the time it goes a lot deeper, or it was things that were not included in this team, either with the roster or with the coaching or whatever. And then all of a sudden, so yes, there was this negative play or this thing happened that was obvious in the game, but do you also know we were missing like defensive linemen? Like we didn't have enough beef on the D line, or we didn't have this, or we didn't have a good enough, run blocking, or blah, blah, blah. Like all these things that tie into why the team actually lost. That maybe aren't as obvious. And so we try to talk about those things. Those are the deficiencies. Those are the things that they could get better at. Now, in the process, we do a draft show every year. We've done draft shows for a bunch of years, and we always have hyped up these guys and really, really excited the Packers would draft them. And then every single time the Packers drafted somebody else. And then those players that we were hyped up for them to draft, and most of the time they could have picked in those spots, went on to be like all-pro players or Pro Bowl players or really good starters for their teams that drafted them. And we thought, damn, why couldn't the Packers have just drafted those guys? That has happened many, many, many times. I'm going to do something this year because I think one of the key elements for this team then is it's in the trenches. So I'm going to try to dive in on prospects before the draft, offensive line and defensive line. That's what I'm going to dive in on. Not edge, because I don't give a rip about edge. We need some big boys. We need the big boys on the D line, and we got to get some physical offensive linemen. And I just I don't know. So I'm going to do a deep dive, and I'm going to get my hopes up again, and I'm going to see what I think the Packers should do, and then they'll probably do something else. But that's going to be my off season studying. So when we get to our draft shows, that's what I'm going to focus on.
I want to be positive. I want to be excited about this team. Like, I'm not a guy who wants to be negative. I just am. I've always been that way. I always see the glass half empty. And why is that? Because I expect perfection. That's the way I live my life. It's either perfect or it's crap.
That's a little harsh.
It's not fun. You're usually disappointed most of the time.
Yeah,
because you're expecting perfection, and out of myself most of the time, and you just can't do it. I have to try to train myself to not do that, but then I just go back to that same thing. And my daughter's the same way. She screws up one thing, and she's like thinks that's crap, or she thinks that sucked, or whatever. And I'm like, no, you were good, you were awesome. And she's like, yeah, but I freaking screwed that part up. And I'm like, well, nobody freaking knew, only you. So don't worry about it. And that's part of the thing I think the Packers have to do is just like get guys who are willing to just do it. Like Evan Williams just does it. He just goes. He sees it and he goes. Sometimes he screws up. And then Keyshawn saves his ass. But 9 times out of 10, he freaking was in the right spot and he made a play. And that's awesome. And I was just thinking about that today, actually. I was thinking about my jersey because I bought one jersey in my whole life. And it was Rasul Douglas. And then, of course, they traded him the very next year like assholes. But that's the point. But I remember Rasul, when he was on the Pack, and how he would just make a play. He just went for it.
Yep.
And it took, and gosh dang, Ben Johnson figured it out and took advantage of it and cost us a game one time because Rasul usually bites on stuff. And he knew he was going to bite on it. And he did. And then we gave up a touchdown to St. Brown and lost the game. And after the game, St. Brown told everybody, oh, yeah, Ben Johnson said that Rasul's going to jump this crap. But that play was specifically put in there to take advantage of Rasul's aggressiveness. But you know what? Probably 35 times before that play, Rasul made the play. And that's the difference. And that's why it's you're gonna might screw up. But at least he was the guy who went after it and he took a shot. And it goes right back to the very beginning of our show from tonight. I would rather see a defense that's taking a shot and going for it than sitting back and reacting and then trying to figure it out on the fly.
Does anybody like watching that defense?
No, nobody wants to watch it. You need to dictate the terms to the offense. Dictate the terms to the offense because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to screw them up. You're probably going to screw them up. You might screw yourself up a couple times. You give up a couple big plays. But those 2 big plays might lead to 10 points. But if you sit back and do nothing, you're keeping your offense on the sidelines and you're probably giving up 20 points from like 4 or 5 drives where, yeah, maybe you gave up only 1 touchdown, but you gave up 4 field goals. And now you're down 19. They got 19 points you gave up. And your offense was sitting on the sideline because they went 3-0 2 times because they're trying to take the big play when there's not a big play there. And then your next thing you know, you had a 21-point lead and then you lost. And you wonder why I'm negative. That's why, because it's dumb.
The other thing that came up in that Mosqueda talk with Nagler was that they were bashing Isaiah McDuffie but they were doing it because they said in Gannon's defense, the linebacker plays the pass first. I mean, you don't want McDuffie playing the pass.
That's all Mosqueda says. He always talks shit about McDuffie constantly.
And maybe you don't want him playing the pass because you want him to be able to do what he does awesome, which is read the play and attack the run. But you're not going to let him do that in this defense. Here's my hope. Here's my positive spin before I'm done. And that is I'm hoping that Jonathan Gannon has an epiphany and like decides to just completely reinvent himself as a D coordinator, looks at this defense, what they're good at, what the players are good at doing, and adjusts his scheme for that instead of trying to fit the round pegs in the square holes. Let's see. That's what a good coach should do. Maybe, and then if he does that, then he proves to me he's a good coach. And if he doesn't,
we got to see.
He doesn't, then he ain't a good coach.
And then everybody's talking about how he punched that guy who screwed up in the game and cost him the game. I don't know if it was a punch or was it a push. Everybody's saying it's a punch. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
If it was a punch, that's pretty bad. But a punch to the gut, like the guy had a uniform on. Where did he punch him? In the helmet? I doubt it. I doubt he punched him in the shoulder pads. That's going to hurt his hand. He probably just punched him in the gut, like what the fuck are you doing, you idiot? You just cost me my job, because he was on the hot seat and he's freaking out and he's like, if we lose more games, I'm getting canned. Stop screwing up. I can only tell you guys put you in the right spot so many times, and for you to freaking, I think that was the guy who was almost to the end zone and then he dropped the ball or something like that, right? And then it went out of bounds or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Something like that. And he got pissed and freaking got mad at his player for being stupid. And I can get behind a guy who gets mad at his players for being stupid. Now, being aggressive and punching them or whatever, that's over the line. But holding guys accountable, that's something I can get behind. And I don't know if Packers have always done that. I think they started to. I think Jeff Hafley started it when he said no more Jair, and Goody had to listen to him and get rid of him. And then nobody wanted him because he's not good and he doesn't listen and he doesn't give a shit. So that's great that we finally got rid of him. But how many other guys are on the team? Because our coach is not the type of guy who instills leadership. Doesn't like guys don't. I don't know if they really like. They all say he's a nice guy, and they kind of said they want him back. And when they ask questions after they're like, "Oh, what do you think about Matt LaFleur?" And they're like, "Oh, Matt LaFleur." Ooh. But is he like a Ben Johnson type guy who takes his shirt off and talks shit about the Packers after the game? I'm not saying you got to take your shirt off. Like, nobody wants Mike McCarthy to do that, but still.
Whew, he's not looking great, but he's the head coach again.
He's crying about doing it in Pittsburgh.
I feel good.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy
me
for
too.
him.
Me too.
That's like his hometown. That's pretty cool. That'd be like, I'm happy for him, but I hope he's successful.
Yeah.
I think that's some pretty big shoes. Step into a team that they had the coach for 18 years, and and that's the other thing is you beat that team in a Super Bowl for your Super Bowl win.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the Cowboys hired him because the Cowboys get beat by McCarthy too, and the Packers against them when they played the Cowboys. So it's like these teams are like, whoa, he beat us. I guess he can lead us or something. I don't know, but
I hope Magic Mike has a good little run here in Pittsburgh. It'd be nice for him.
He deserves it. He probably did not deserve to go out. I think it was time to move on.
Sure.
But I don't think he deserved to go out the way he did when he was with the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers kind of forced that position. And
I mean,
it was fortunate for what happened to Mike McCarthy there. But,
look, Aaron Rodgers was a lot to deal with, and he dealt with him. He saw him grow from probably a player that was coachable to the monster he became.
Yeah.
And Brett Favre had that too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Brett Favre had that too, and how many coaches did he go through? Because Holmgren saw that, and Holmgren was like, "I can't do this anymore.
I'm out." Yeah.
And then it was like Patsy coach, who just came in and knew that Favre had to run the roost.
Well, McCarthy didn't do that.
No, but I'm just saying, like McCarthy hung in there a long time with Rodgers, right? And through all the stuff. Partly because he knew then, well, his job was easier and he would be successful and all that. But yeah, I mean, do I think he's a great coach? I don't know. But at the same time, is there other guys a lot better than him or going to care about that Steelers job as much as him? Probably not. So he'll do his best at 62 and, he's all right.
He's 62?
Yeah, he's 62.
He looks pretty bad for 62.
I know he does not look great. He looks like, I hope he gets healthier and drops a few pounds.
Yeah, he needs to lose some weight.
Yeah.
I mean, our dad is going to be 79.
Yeah.
And he looks better than Mike McCarthy at 62, I think.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't seen Dad in person. Well, I saw him at Christmas. He looked okay.
Yeah, he looks all right. Yeah, he's looking all right. Still got a lot of hair, too, which is nice. I think for us.
Maybe. I don't know. I got some weird hair. I needed a haircut. Dad didn't bring his haircut stuff. That's a different story altogether.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys go. Signing off for a while here. Unless you'd say whatever you gotta say.
I was just gonna say one guy who is looking good though, Brian Bulaga. Way to go, buddy.
Hey,
way to lose like 75 pounds or whatever. I don't know. I didn't even know who that was at first. And then I heard him talking. I was like, oh, that's Brian Bulaga. Sounds like an idiot. But still, looks amazing. Okay, that was harsh. I'm just kidding. But he looks good. Him and Gilbert Brown. After they got done playing, they were just like, nah, I'm tired of being a big fatty. I'm gonna be looking
Gilbert
like
Brown
stud.
slimmed down? Oh.
Yeah, he looks pretty good.
I mean, it happens a lot with offensive linemen in particular. I mean, like if you see Joe Thomas now, you'd be like,
yeah, I understand he's skinny.
Holy Jesus, But that's just like a bunch of those guys to play football. They eat like 10,000 calories a day or whatever to.
Yeah, but they've been. But like Brian Bulaga, just like I remember when they drafted him, he just looked like a big fat goofball. He wasn't even that fat though. Like I thought that was just his look.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He didn't look like a fat guy. He was just huge, like a big dude.
Yeah.
But I just saw him, and I'm like, he looks like a freaking, like a stud. I mean, for as much as he can look like a stud, I'm just saying. But he looked good. He had a chiseled jawline. I was like, I didn't even know he had a jawline. I thought he had like a weak chin with a freaking triple chin going on. Who knew he had a jawline underneath all that flab?
See, that's what you got to do to play. When they tell you to bulk up to play O-line or D-line, that's the sacrifices you got to make.
I'm bulked up, but I don't play anything. I'm just fat and lazy. Does that count?
Nope.
All I know is this. It inspired me. Brian Bulaga, you inspired me. After
Good.
seeing you today, I'm just going to
Wow.
say it now. Now, will I do anything about it? Probably not. But for a moment, I was inspired. I thought for a second, I was like, man, Brian Balaga can lose that much weight. I should be able to lose 25 pounds and get down to 178 or whatever it is. It's 25.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
178. So I'm 203 right now. So if I can get down to
What?
178.
I'm 203.
I know, you're a fat ass. Just
What?
like me. You're a fat ass. You turned into a big fat bastard. Way to go. That's my other goal, is to get skinnier than you for the first time in like 25 years. To get skinnier than you. I think the last time I was skinnier than you, I was like,
25 years.
I'm 51. When I was 26, I was skinny. You know how I know? I got married when I was 27. That was when I was fat. When I was 26, when I got engaged, I was still skinny. It was after I got engaged, then I let myself fat. And then Jesse lost a bunch of weight. So in our wedding, she was a 5'8" and a size 4, super skinny and hot, and I was a big fat blob. And I remember her great uncle was like, "Ooh, Ben, you're a pretty big guy." And I'm like, "What? Am I that fat?" And I remember when I went to get my tuxedo suit fitted for my, because I didn't realize how fat I was. I went to get my tuxedo fitted for my wedding, and the lady was like, "Oh, what size?" Because I kept trying on pants. I was like, "Oh, these are too small." She was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what size
These
waist
are
do you
too
usually have?" I was like, "Oh, I usually wear a 34, 30. Sometimes I mean, 36 if I ate a lot of turkey or whatever, like Thanksgiving." And she was like, "Yeah, you might want to check that again." And I was like, "What?" And I've been fat ever since. So, there you go. But now Brian Balaga, you inspired me to at least think about losing weight. It doesn't mean I'm gonna, but I'm thinking about it.
I hope he inspires his old coach, Mike McCarthy, to just get a little healthier.
You should call him up.
Because I want his heart to make it through the NFL season. I want him to be safe, and I want him to have some success, so I can call Nico and say Magic Mike is a good coach.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's my goal. All right, Sammy D, win the Super Bowl. Go get it, buddy. Good luck to you. Everybody else, enjoy your Super Bowl, your off season. We'll talk to you next time in a while as we get closer to the draft, probably. I don't think
Just
we'll
keep
do
your notifications on.
Yeah, just keep them on. Just
You
turn
might
them on.
just do it.
You
So
never know. If some
if
big
you don't-
news breaks,
Yeah.
you might pop
Or
in.
maybe even if we just feel like it. If you don't ever have your notifications on, but you love the Haveman Bros, you never know when we're going to go. So you should always have your notifications on, especially at this time of year. You can turn them off during the year because then we'll go every week. But you don't know when we're going to go. So you should really put your notifications on, because if we decide to do it in like 3 weeks and you weren't expecting, you want to be there. Who knows what we're going to talk about?
That's true.
Could be anything. I talked about boobs earlier today. That's exciting.
Plus, we just shocking news here at the end that Ben and I weigh exactly the same.
That's so crazy. I actually thought I thought I gained a lot of weight at Christmas time. And this morning I went and looked at this morning. I was like, I gotta see it. I gotta just look. I'm sure it's like 210 now, because I was at 202 and I was so excited. I was like, I'm going the right way. And then Christmas happened, and I just ate like a fatty and ate a bunch of chips and ate a bunch of cookies and shit like a dumbass. So today I was like, I feel really fat. Let's go look. And it was 203, and I was like, what? Why do I feel so fat? And then I realized it's because I haven't been lifting weights, so I have no muscle either. So it's 203 pounds of total fat.
This pisses me off. All right, I'll see you guys later. Next time you see me, I'll weigh less than Ben, I hope.
Not if Brian Balaga
Challenge.
about it.
Let's see it next show. Let's drop some pounds by then.
Crap! Don't have to do something.
Total of 10 pounds between us. Let's make it.
Then we'd both be below 200. That'd be the first time I was below 200 since probably my wedding.
Well, unless I lost 10 pounds and you didn't lose any.
That's probably what's going to happen.
I don't know. It's not working right now, but we'll get there. All right. See you later, bro. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Enjoy your weeks without us, and we'll.